Following podcast is brought to you by Bet You Didn't Know, an interactive trivia book available now on the iTunes Store. Real quick here before we get started, this is our first episode, and we got some new equipment for this new little podcast we're doing here on Breaking Bad. And we ran into a little bit of a technical difficulty. So when you start, you'll hear me and Blake starting to discuss the Season 5 premiere, and then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, Blake will stop talking. That was because his recording, we lost it, basically. It faded out, and instead of putting you through my awful audio editing skills and piercing your ears and making you turn it off, I tried to edit the rest of the episode the best I could to try to get some of the thoughts we had across. But we got everything worked out. And the next episode will be 100% great or kind of good. So try to enjoy this one. It's our first one. Cut us a little slack. All right, welcome to a new podcast here called Talking Bad, the final season. I'm Brian. This is Blake. Say what's up, Blake.
Hello.
Yeah, we're kind of doing this for it's our first episode, starting off fresh here. We really got it. At least I really got into the show here kind of late. Breaking Bad. I started watching it when it came onto Netflix a while back, and had to play catch up. I'd heard all these great things about the show. I just never really got into it. I kind of thought it was I don't know. What's that one show that focuses on people's addictions? It's like Addicted.
Where they have the thing that the people that care about them. I forget what it's called too.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say Conspiracy, but that's not
it is a type of conspiracy where they confront them.
Yeah. They confront them. Even It's Always Sunny did an episode on it.
It's another show we like.
Yeah, and
God damn it.
I can't even think of the word. It's one word.
Let me see here. Let's Google this. Confront an addict. I'm gonna look.
I can't remember. It's on A&E too, or something.
Yeah. How to confront an addict? No. What is it? How to deal with a drug addict? What is it called?
I don't know. We're losing viewers immediately.
No, intervention.
Yes.
There it is. God, it only took us 10 minutes. I thought Breaking Bad was like Intervention, that type of show, was just all about addicts, just dramatized. You know what I mean? Okay. I didn't know there was this whole other side of it, where basically I read an interview recently with the creator Vince Gilligan about it, and he was like, I just wanted to make a show that through the course of the season, you saw Mr. Chips turn into Scarface. Now, I don't know who Mr. Chips is.
Me neither.
I'm assuming it's like a hunky-dory dad type, a teacher, and you know who Scarface is,
right.
A gangster type guy. And how that progression happened. You wanted to make a show about the characters changing, not necessarily about the plot.
Right. I read that same thing, yeah.
And once I saw that, I thought, well, this is something I might have to get into. And I watched probably the first season, I think. And then I just it was just so depressing. And I was really into Friday Night Lights then. It was like the last season of Friday Night Lights, and that's so uplifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was like, man, I'm not into this right now, but I'll come back to it. And then I started hearing about the final season was coming out, and I'm like, well, let's dive in here. So in the past 3 months, I went through seasons 2 through 4, just rapid fire, dude, like 3 a day possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And just loving watching Walter just take these risks and become more and more evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was in the same boat. I can't remember if I told you you've got to watch this. I think that's how it went. I'm not 100% sure on that anymore, but I was in the same boat. I never watched the show. I believe that season 3 was on TV at the time that I started watching it on Netflix.
Right.
No, you know what? I'm sorry. No, I think season 4 must have started because they had 3 seasons of it on Netflix. And I watched them. I whipped through them, and actually that took me a little while. I mean, I didn't fly through it, but was addicted to it. When season 4 hit Netflix the day that season 5 started last week.
Yeah.
I watched all of season 4 in 2 days.
That's a
Watched them all
lot
in
of
2 days. I stayed up till like 3 in the morning and just watched them.
Oh
Couldn't
man.
believe it. Best show.
Oh, it's the best. And it just keeps progressively obviously getting Walter keeps getting worse and worse of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing worse and worse things. Like the end of season 3, that finale when he just shoots those two dudes and he's just like, run. And that's just it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching this, just like my hands covering my eyes. I'm like, how could anybody have waited however long it is between seasons after that moment?
Oh, I know. And it's so, I don't even know what the word, I want to say nerve wracking. That's
It
just one of my
is.
favorite words of my vocab, but
Right.
it's, I mean, I'm watching it. Yeah, I'm so depressed
Yes.
watching it. I get, for that hour that I'm watching, I'm very depressed and just, I don't understand how this
I
does
know.
this to me, but it's
I
that
know.
good that you're actually believing what you're watching.
I
I
know.
mean, it's insane.
And it's some great acting and stuff from the whole cast. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I literally get mad at Walt's wife and how much she just interferes with stuff and is constantly never happy. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, here, by the way, I just have millions of dollars here for you." And then she's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you." And I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" And then she gets into it and she wants to be a part of it. And what does she do? She takes $600,000 and gives it to the guy she was sleeping with.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
if I was Walter, I would just go off on this woman, I think. But that's how good the acting is. That's how into it I am.
Right.
And Jesse, of course, Jesse does a great job being Jesse. But I think my favorite character, as soon as he was on, is Mike. And well, let's get into that here a little bit in more detail. Obviously, me and Blake have been talking about Breaking Bad over texts. Like I would get these texts, from Blake in the middle of the day. It's just like, "Oh my god, I cannot believe this just happened." And I'm like, "I know." And I wanted to get done and caught up before this season because I actually had one of the best moments of the entire show ruined for me, if you can believe it or not. Because before I finished, as we know in the season 4 finale, if you haven't watched, this whole thing's gonna be filled with spoilers. So if you haven't seen an episode, get caught up before you listen to this. But in the season 4 finale, obviously Gus, the guy who's been employing Walt and Jesse now for a whole season, is a big gangster cartel drug dealer. Gets half his body blown off by a bomb that Walt made in a old people's home. Well, it's such a cool reveal because the whole, if you've seen it, the whole door blows off the room and then he just slowly walks out and fixes his tie and the camera pans around and he's got half of his body blown off and he just falls. It was awesome, except before I even saw that episode, there was a promo on AMC and it was that shot of the camera coming around Gus and he falls and it says the king is dead, all hail the new king. I watch Mad Men and I think Mad Men was on at the time and that was one of the commercials and I was just like, god damn it, now I know how Gus dies. But that goes to show you, I mean, how long can you wait to spoil a show? I mean, that I don't know when the season 4 premiere actually aired on AMC, but I would say it was at least a year ago. So I knew that part was going to happen. But it was still nerve-wracking to see what went into that. But anyway, that's where we left Walt and the crew after, last season. Was basically he'd killed off the boss and was free, but he had no income. He just lost $600,000 because, like we said, his stupid wife gave it to Ted, who we thought died because of he tripped and fell into a thing and stopped moving. And the funny thing about that was everyone thought he was dead because if you watch that part again, he falls and oranges fall on him.
Okay.
The Godfather, if you don't know, in the Godfather movies, every time you see an orange, it means someone's about ready to be pretty much killed off. So that was supposed to be an homage, everyone thought, to Ted slipping and falling and cracking his skull and dying. But as we found out in this week's premiere episode, Live Free or Die, he's alive. But he's basically paralyzed and looks kind of like in the worst possible place ever, where I would just kind of be like, you know what, just pull the plug. You know, I can't move. I'm just sitting here with one of those neck cages on and whatever. But let's dive a little bit deeper into Live Free or Die, and the first thing we're going to have to talk about is this cold open. The cold open, basically, which is the scene before the credits. I mean, it was well, obviously we know it's a flash forward because of the breakfast. If you don't remember, he arranges the bacon in a 52. But in the very first episode of the entire series, you see Walt's wife arranging the bacon in a 50 for his 50th birthday. And I read, the whole course of this whole season has been within or around a year. There is an episode I saw coming up that's titled 51. So I would think that would be the year mark. So this has all been within a year. And seeing the 52, people wonder, well, is that his actual 52nd birthday? Or he gives the waitress a fake ID? Is that the fake ID's birthday? I don't know. Some other little hints and stuff from this first cold open as to what this all means is, well, he's got a New Jersey license plate, and their motto is "Live Free or Die," or New Hampshire. Anyway, it says "Live Free or Die" on the license plate, which is the title of the episode. Also, when he's in the bathroom, you see him coughing again. Since he's been better, he hasn't been coughing, So there's a hint that he could be getting sick again. And the other little hint is that the guy who he trades guns with in the bathroom is the same guy who gives him the gun in the last season, season 4. Remember, he goes in and asks for a pistol with the, he asked what's it for, and he said it was for protection, because he thought he was going to kill Gus, or Gus was going to try to kill him again. And he goes, well, if it was just for protection, you could just get a gun legally without the serial number rubbed off. And he's like, well, I just feel better if no one knew that this was mine. So that's the same dude. So this dude's evidently his arms dealer by this point. This cold open, they haven't done one like this in a while, where, if you remember, I think it was season 2 or 3. I forget which one had the very first shot of the show of the season was this pool, and there was an eye floating in it, and there was a bear floating in it, and you thought slowly throughout the season they would show more and more of that something happening at Walt's house, and all this shit was floating in the pool. Well, they didn't know what was going to happen, and they didn't like that because they felt it boxed them into where they could go that season, because they knew they had to end up something happening in Walt's pool or an explosion of some sort at his house. So that kind of boxed them in. I mean, they had a general idea of where they were going, kind of like Lost, but they were really specific about having to show what happened. So it's interesting to me that they opened their final season with basically, here's where we're going to go. So, but is that where we're going to go? Because whether you know this or not, AMC, they're dicking us around. AMC always does one show after another. So, Mad Men comes out for like 2 months. That leads into Breaking Bad. That leads into Walking Dead. They always do The Walking Dead around Halloween. That's like their thing. We'll bring the zombies back for Halloween. Well, Breaking Bad is being split in half. So we're going to get 8 episodes, probably up until Halloween. And then it's a cliffhanger until next summer, 2013. And that's going to suck. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why, but evidently they're done filming the first 8, and they haven't started filming the second 8 yet. That starts in January is when they start shooting that. At least that was what I got from the last interview with the guy that plays Jesse. So is this cold open where we're going to end up at the end of the series, or is it where we're going to end up at the end of these 8? Well, real quick here, let's get in. If you've obviously seen the episode, if you're listening to this, we're not going to sit here and retell it to you. But in this first episode, we saw a very different Walter White. He's the king now. And the first time I saw that was when, he comes home, he's having a glass of liquor or whatever, just kind of celebrating the the job they just did with killing Gus. Then he realizes that there is some, ground they need to go back and cover their tracks, with the magnets, bitch. Magnets, which was kind of cool. But once that whole magnet thing gets done and they're in the car and Mike says something along the lines of, how do we know that it worked? How do we know that we're all good? And he goes, because I said so. And it's just like, whoa, that is pretty confident Walter White. Like, I'm the boss and I say it's good. Is Walt going to be able, I mean, are they going to take him down the route where he gets so low to the point where there's no chance for redemption and he's just going to be punished for what he's done? Or is he just going to live on and be a badass and succeed? I mean, I have no idea. The other key moments I thought, obviously, that were in this was him seeing when was in that meeting with Saul. Saul Goodman. It's all good, man. Better call Saul. When he was in there and he just looks at him and gets up and says, "We're done when I say we're done." And Saul's just scared shitless, It's just like, this guy is not one to be fucked with now. When of course, where we left it at the end of the episode was, he slowly walks up to his wife who's terrified and just says, "I forgive you." Now, that was terrifying. He was just like, "Look, I'm a badass right now and I forgive you because now we're sitting pretty." And she's just doesn't know what's going to happen next. Neither do we. And neither do we, Speaking about the, I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming episode. There was one clip that I saw that was released. First of all, it made me really mad when they said, see scenes from the next Breaking Bad during the first commercial break of this new shitty comedy series we have. I was like, come on. Oh, I didn't watch it, but I watched a clip online of what to expect next for the episode 2. And it was a scene in the police office with Hank and his boss.
So Hector Salamanca killed Frank. But who gave Salamanca the bomb?
A whole lot of questions. Not much in the way of answers. Yet.
The APD did find some of Frank's financials. That just might lead to something.
I had him out to my house. 4th of July, we cooked out in the backyard. My son shucked the corn, my daughter cut up potatoes. Fring brought sea bass. Every time I grill it now, I make a little foil pouch just like he showed me. That whole night we were laughing, telling stories, drinking wine. And he's somebody else completely. Right in front of me. Right under my nose.
And you see Hank just sitting there thinking like, yeah, you're right. This guy was right under our noses, just like we've been waiting this whole series for this guy to fucking piece together that Walt is Heisenberg, the Heisenberg he's looking for. So I think that might start to unravel in this next episode. Once Walt figures out that Hank's starting to figure this out, he's gonna have to decide, is he a gangster or his family? You know what I mean? He won't be able to have both anymore. So yeah, it's gonna get nuts, and I cannot wait. But let's wrap things up here because honestly, we're filming this Sunday about 20 minutes till the episode 2 is going to start. We're planning on releasing a new episode either Monday night or Tuesday of every week after talking about the previous Sunday's episode. So we'll do another one of these probably tomorrow night, I would think, and then we'll have it up online either tomorrow night or Tuesday morning. Try our best, but it will be up early in the week, each week, talking about each specific episode and where we think it's going to be headed.